And subsequently, before we arrived, the call was updated by another complainant who had indicated that this same subject had been responsible for a battery that had been recently committed. Upon arrival, the officer, the first responding unit, was called to the apartment where the subject had gone into. He heard sounds of what sounded like a disturbance coming from within the home, and it was at that juncture that he forced entry. Once inside the home, the subject involved in this incident, the same one that had been allegedly out in traffic and had battered someone, this same subject then assaulted my officer, and in the context of mutual combat in that sense, the officer did draw his revolver and subsequently shot the subject. Immediately thereafter, the officer began immediately to render aid by providing CPR and was subsequently joined by backups who also carried on that struggle. Subject was subsequently conveyed to a local area hospital where he did succumb to his gunshot wounds and is deceased. Obviously, at this point in time, it wouldn't be inappropriate for the police department to take on the purview of the role of the medical examiner, who has the duty of notifying next of kin in a matter like this. Obviously, in light of the fact that we are completely bound by state law, which indicates that an independent oversight and investigation should be conducted outside of the Madison Police Department. We respected that from the moment we took the scene, froze the scene, and waited for the Department of Criminal Investigation to arrive. The Department of Criminal Investigation is the point of investigation. This is completely their oversight. We will only supplement their needs as they request it, and certainly we will not have any sense of an instrumental role in this. In light of so much things that have happened, not just across this country, but in our own community, it's understandable that the reaction at the scene amidst some of our citizens is extremely volatile, emotional, and upsetting, and we understand that. That's absolutely appropriate under the circumstances. We would urge, obviously, that everybody exercise restraint and some calm, and let us allow the Department of Criminal Investigation to conduct their affairs, and we will all await then that what their investigative fact findings should reflect. Witnesses have been contacted. They will be subsequently interviewed by DCI, and I suspect that DCI will also do canvassing of neighbors and others who may have seen part or parts of the incident. And that's pretty much the sum total of what I can provide you now, given the fact that it is in the hands of DCI, and I do not want to usurp their authority.
As far as what happened with your officer, can you say anything about any weapons used by the subject or anything like that?
At this point, it is unknown what, if anything, he had in terms of instrumentalities. The initial findings at the scene did not reflect a gun or anything of that nature that would have been used by the subject. No.
Did your officer sustain any injuries?
Well, he was knocked down as a result of the blow to his head, but beyond that, he will be treated and ultimately released.
So he's at a hospital right now?
He is, yes.
Standard procedure?
Well, standard procedure insofar as part of the protocols, obviously, is that there will be a blood draw administered at the direction of DCI, and at that point, at some point, obviously, that will be all obviously analyzed to ensure that absolute sobriety and no drugs in the officer's bloodstream.
Go ahead. Can you say anything about age, race of the subject?
It appears he's a young African-American male of 19 years of age.
How many times was he shot?
I couldn't say that at this point because I don't know.
You said the situation was volatile, and understandably so. As the chief and overseeing, obviously looking out for your officer, are you worried about the response interfering with a investigation in any way?
No, I believe at the end of the day, we will have a secure crime scene. And I think as people come to realize that it's not the Madison Police Department's investigation, it's the Department of Criminal Investigation. And to that extent, I hope that people will understand and give them plenty of room to work with as much opportunity for them to move freely and about without them being subjected to, anything else or harassment.
I see that you were meeting with Michael Johnson with Boys and Girls Club. I don't know if he wants to answer any questions or if you can talk about, what your discussion with him entailed.
Well, I'll let Michael speak for himself, but I will say that going back to when I first became chief, Michael has been a friend and a confidant, and he understands the pain that communities can endure all too well, having done a lot of work in urban settings and was on the front lines of Ferguson. So in his capacity at mending fences, creating trust bridges, he's been a resource to me as a community stakeholder, and I hope it will be in the future. So